Greetings, everybody. This is Joshua Johnson, or also known as Docmocracy, to those who know me as a stage name. I am 38 years old, and this is my first autobiography. I was born from a drunken grope fest and a broken prophylactic while committing infadultery with Guillermo Calamacu, and I was conceived in 1981, born May 16th, 1982, in Houston, Texas. I was a kid that, well, quite possibly was the least wanted in my family. My oldest memory was going fishing with my grandpa. I didn't know much of the families that I did stay with when I was being passed around like garbage, but it was a rough childhood. I only came to live with my mom in my duplicate years when my age rang to 2 digits. I didn't stay long with my mom as I didn't have a foundation there, and we had too many discrepancies in our relationship at that time for me to not emancipate at 16. I emancipated so that I could have peace and quiet, and I sought refuge in my schoolwork and football in high school. I wasn't picked on because, well, I was far too big for anybody to pick on, but today was a significant day. I finally told my uncle that I do not consider him family, and I don't feel any remorse feeling that way, as he had commented on a post and told my sister that he loved her, and I thought to myself, you know what, I never needed him. I never did. He's dying of cirrhosis to the liver, and I could probably be on a one-way track. If I would have hung out with him, we would have probably became drinking buddies. And instead of smoking weed like I do, I would have probably drinking myself into an early grave, which by all recommendation from my wife, Stacy, wouldn't have been a very good turnout for me in the end, because as much as I wanted to feel depressed about being on disability, it has benefited me greatly because I have an apartment, I have a wife, I have a best friend named Kiki, I have a mom that loves me, I have a niece and nephew that consider me like a parent, and I benefited over the years from just having a smaller family rather than fitting in with the bigger suits in this family, as my mom always said was never a practical long-term solution, as most of the family use people's shortcomings to judge them and put them into category, which I think is archaic at best. But back to what I was saying. The reason for this video is more of a memoir, as I get a feeling I probably won't be around much longer. I feel a very quiet voice in my head saying that I will die in 2021. I haven't spoken this much except to my mom, my wife, and my best friend, but I think it rings clear that my heart probably isn't going to last. I have cardiomyopathy, according to the last doctor, Dr. Baccaretti, that I saw. He told me I had advanced stage cardiomyopathy. So, but in layman's terms, it probably means that either I'll have a heart surgery in the future to fix the pockets on my heart that are HCM. It's where a blood thickens in your heart, and it is people who generally have this don't generally live that long. And I just wanted to make a dictation to, let everybody know that I'm at peace. I'm happy as I can be, and I wouldn't do anything different that I've done in this life, as I feel all my decisions were calculated, and I would make them all over again, especially being with the woman that I'm currently with now, that I hope to marry in December. I just hope that for anybody that does view this video, don't feel any sorrow for me if an untimely demise were to befall me, as I'm at peace. I have accomplished a lot of good things in this life. I haven't accomplished all that I felt that I could have, as I'm a really, really good musician, and I feel that this world has let me down on that front. I should have been more famous than I actually turned out to be, but that's the way the cards fall. I could, have been an artist, but then again, I could have gotten really famous and probably ended up committing suicide when my fame subsided. I think that was one of the main reasons why I never became famous, is I was never willing to do what was necessary to become real famous, because I'm scared of fame. I think fame causes men to think of their lives as more significant than it was. I'm happy being insignificant to the world of today, because it just shows that the world doesn't always see talent. I'm sure right now there are probably singers around the world that are better than the artists that we have here in America or other parts of the world that ain't famous, that could have been. But as the cards may fall, we get a life in this world. We don't get more than one, and we can't say, per se, what our true destiny is. All we can do is just make the most of what we have. Well, with all this considered, I just wanted to make this dictation so that I can watch on YouTube occasionally and look back on this day as I finally had the courage to stand up to my uncle and tell him that I don't feel remorse that we were never close. I don't feel any remorse whatsoever, because I'm as good a guy as I know. And that's not because of what I have, it's what I do with what I have that makes me confident in that. And I'm confident that God knows me, that God knows me as a friend, because all I've ever done is uphold the principles and the teachings of His written manuscripts and the biblical instructions before leaving Earth. Well, I end this segment with a C'est la vie and God bless.